I'm really excited to have the opportunity to discuss some really great things around cleaning up your act as it comes to your beauty routine and the way that you really clean and care for your face, because the eyelids are an extension of our facial skin, and we should be thinking about just the whole face when we're thinking about the eyes. And so I want to give first a thank you to the OD Diva platform for letting us come on as this not live, but rather recorded communication. And so it can live on for a little while for you to come back and listen to it more than once, hopefully. But I'm Dr. Leslie Odell. I am an optometrist focused on ocular surface disease and cosmetics as they pertain to ocular surface disease here in Pennsylvania. And it's been quite a wild ride over the past decade to see how not only the understanding of dry eye disease has really evolved, but how lifestyle and our understanding about lifestyle has really challenged the dry eye patient and also sometimes challenged us, the clinicians. But most recently, I am very proud to have been part of the TFOS, Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society's lifestyle workshop, contributing on the cosmetic committee. And so, it was a very great experience. And now that report is live and you can find it on tearfilm.org. And I would encourage you to do that. But along this journey, I have met a lot of amazing people, and Amy Gallant Sullivan is definitely one of those people. So, Amy, thank you so much for being, being part of this conversation today. We've done a lot of work over the years. You are known as being the executive director for TFOS, but then also you changed your hats a little bit, or added a hat rather, in 2020 with the launch of our first brand around eye cosmetics that was formulated for patients with sensitive eyes, and that is known as Eyes Are the Story. So thank you so much for your time today, and congratulations on all of your accomplishments.
Thank you, Dr. Odell, and thank you for being part of this story. We've been working together, I think we've been collaborating for about 10 years now. So it is really exciting to see the advancements that we have really seen along the way since we have been collaborating together from the TFOS side, but also Eyes of the Story. And it's really incredible. And it's incredible to be here today and be able to address your colleagues about the importance of really understanding how cosmetics can, in fact, impact the diagnosis, treatment, or management of an eye disease.
Absolutely. So, full disclosure, along our journey, I've been able to actually be part of the story with Eyes Are the Story, and I'm so grateful for that because I've learned a lot. Some of my favorite things are just sending you ingredient lists and asking you what are the nasties in there. And that leads me to one of the things that we've been able to put out, not only through the lifestyle workshop, but you and I together in some collaboration prior to that. And that is just this top 10 list of eye nasties. So be sure to check that out, right? With that being said, I think that there's still a little bit of confusion in the eye care community about what, we have this top 10 list. We know that there's certain things that we do have to avoid with patients, but still when you pull out a product, the ingredient list sometimes seems like it's written in another language, and it can still be a challenge. And it's not really the specialty of most of the clinicians that are seeing the patients, right? And so what tips would you have on just that, I kind of have the answer here, but finding these trusted beauty brands where we know that you've done the homework allows us to make recommendations to patients with less, concern. We know that we have somebody to trust in Eyes Are the Story. So maybe talk a little bit to me just around the brand, if, first, what you have to offer and really how that helps us clear up some of the confusion in the exam lane.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Dr. Adele. So basically with Eyes of the Story, we're the world's first brand that has formulated specifically and clinically proven all of our products for sensitive eyes. So we have not only formulated them for sensitive eyes and sensitive skin, dry eyes, and contact lens users, but we've also proven their efficacy. And it's very important to say that because there are a lot of brands on the market that make the claim that they are safe for sensitive eyes, but there's a big difference being claim safe and actually formulating to be safe and be made specifically for those with sensitive eyes. And there are millions of people around the world with sensitive eyes. So how do you know, for example, that a product is safe for sensitive eyes? One, it definitely helps to be made by a company that is built around eye safety and collaborates with world experts on eye health and vision. So one of the things that we have done is we have in fact created this list of nasties, so ingredients that we strongly recommend to avoid if you have sensitive eyes. And this is not simple at all, because for example, one of the things we always look at and say, okay, in the United States that there are only 11 chemicals banned for the formulation of cosmetics, and in Europe there are more than 1,300 chemicals banned. But that does not necessarily mean that just because the cosmetics made that don't have those particular chemicals in them are eye safe. So what we've done is we've actually sourced peer-reviewed research, so science, published science based on ocular surface disease specifically, because that's how the story of Eyes of the Story began. And we said, okay, what chemicals out there are known offenders for the tear film and ocular surface? So we have compiled a top 10 list of ingredients that we recommend staying away from. So with the TFOS report, for example, there are pages and pages of ingredients that we don't recommend having in cosmetics, but there are a lot of ingredients out there that really wouldn't be found in eye cosmetics anyway. So that's a little bit too much information. So we've simplified it. So not only have we used the TFOS lifestyle report on cosmetics to source many of the ingredients and verify the ones that we have selected on our put on our blacklist, but we've also looked at the research from around the world and validated every single one of the top 10. So the top 10 that we recommend, which can be found on our website, eyesarethestory.com, all of them are referenced and all of them have a specific reason why they should not be put in the cosmetics, both skincare and color cosmetics that are put on and around the eyes.
Well, let's kind of just talk a little bit about the regulations here in our country and how that how that compares to the European Union. Just like you said, it's such a stark contrast in the number of cosmetic products allowed, or not products, but chemicals allowed in products in Europe versus the US. And I would just say, and, again, want to applaud you for the efforts that you put into this brand. How many countries are you retailing in now and available?
So we're actually approved to sell in over 30 countries at this point in time, and we are currently selling in 9 countries, which is really a massive milestone for a US-based brand, because it is very, very challenging for US brands to be sold overseas, particularly in Europe, because of the strict regulations in Europe. So it's been quite an adventure.
Well, it just goes to show, the power of these studies, I guess that you would call them, that you've done to really make the claims that you have, and also the thoughtfulness that you've put into the chemical composition of what you have to offer. So I think that's one thing that definitely, I know that's one thing that definitely sets your company apart from a lot that we are seeing coming into this space, as far as eye friendly or cosmetics that we're now seeing in the eye space. So congratulations again for that. But on that list of nasties, if you will, there's a few call outs that I think can really take us down the route of facial hygiene and cleansing. And one of them is just the suds in our soap. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's actually interesting because there are a lot of chemicals put into skincare. And first of all, what's good for your skin may not necessarily be good for your eyes. So that is one thing that we looked at. And that's why we have included skincare in our cosmetics portfolio, because it's very important that whatever we put on and around our eyes, particularly around, say, the periorbital area, which is the thinnest skin on our body. Isn't that correct? It's actually the thinnest. So it can also absorb chemicals more easily, to put it very simply. So we looked at the ingredients in our skincare and said, okay, we really need to think about hygiene, skincare, beauty routines, anti-aging, and even before we talk about color. So whether it be, say, suds and bubbles, a lot of us know that we shouldn't be washing our face with soap, right? There are a lot of reasons behind that, but the sudsy things are chemicals that we don't really want, but that's only part of it, because it's not just the sudsy bubbly things. There are ingredients like salicylic acid, which are found in a lot of face washes out there. And a lot of patients, say with sensitive skin or acne, are using on their face, but that can negatively impact the eyes. And that's another conversation, because if they have acne, maybe they need to find out the root of the acne before they just start buying products, say OTC products off the shelf with salicylic acid in it. But there are also face washes, many mainstream face washes out there, and luxury brands that include parabens. That's another nasty that we say absolutely a no-go zone. Fragrance, perfumes. I mean, there are so many products on the market that we wash our face with. We're supposed to be cleaning our skin, and we're putting perfume on it. That is just not something that we should be doing, because as we are very well aware, the fragrance is actually a cocktail of chemicals that
Yeah,
are
just
brought
like the
together.
catch-all for things that you don't know what it is,
Exactly. And we
right?
don't know what it is. So it's on a
Yeah.
bottle, it's marked fragrance. So that fragrance, I read somewhere that fragrance could be 50 to 200 different chemicals that are brought together to
Wow.
make that perfume. So why are we washing our face with a cocktail of chemicals in that sense as well? We don't need perfume. Something else, for example, and I know this is a little bit touchy, but tea tree oil, for example, is found in a lot of face washes. And that is something that we found. There is research that recommends that this is not something that we should be using on a regular daily basis on an extended period of time, because I know, say, many of your colleagues use it in clinic for a short period of time, but tea tree oil can be very, very aggressive. And also, I believe it's also also an endocrine disruptor.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, tea tree oil has come into play, really around Demodex blepharitis. But I agree that it seems as though because of its antibacterial and antifungal properties, as well as its ability to help with parasitic involvement with Demodex, that it's become a little bit more mainstream. And so for me, my standard has been address the Demodex. Actually, now we have different ways, even with therapeutics, to do that. And once I see improvement to the lid margin, I don't see collarettes, that telltale sign of Demodex, I actually transition my patient away from tea tree cleansers. But one thing that we did years ago was ask the question to eye care providers around, do they have the conversation around eye makeup with their patients? And I'm sure you remember, but it was like 92% of the doctors said no. Well, I think that's kind of what sparked us to start thinking about, okay, we need to start looking into research and talking about cosmetics. And I will say now, being out and about and doing different lectures and listening to other people speak, I think the conversation around eye cosmetics is being had more. So that's awesome. But I don't think, and I do think that the Demodex movement in learning about this is going to help this as well. But I don't think that we've yet moved back to think about the face. And I do think that's where we kind of need to move. And if we start talking about daily hygiene routines and we actually guide patients to products that are going to be beneficial, it's just going to make it so much easier to manage things that are occurring on the ocular surface. So walk me through what you consider the Trinacria collection of Eyes of the Story. Walk me through that product line, and I'm going to give you my insights as to how I recommend it to patients. But tell us what it's included in your kind of skincare regime.
Well, what's interesting, and actually back to the label reading, which you had just asked about, I wanted to say somebody contacted me the other day because they were recommended a face wash that had fragrance in it, chlorphenicin, phenoxyethanol, and parabens. And it was a loaded bottle of chemicals. And they said, help me. What do you recommend? And I said, okay, let's step back a moment. So we used the top 10 list that we had, and we actually looked at every one of the ingredients in the back of that bottle and said, well, maybe let's try something different. So the Trinacria collection that you mentioned, this is our basic daily, we call it sort of the cleansing matrix. So this is what we recommend doing on a daily basis.
And let me just pause real
Yes.
quick, because the other thing I hear when I am speaking to doctors is the male female
Yes.
disconnect. Um,
Yes.
so for a couple of reasons. One, we know that men and women both are using cosmetics in all varieties nowadays, but facial cleansing is something we all should be doing. And then the other thing is just around the conversation that some of my male colleagues have with patients and how it's an uncomfortable conversation. So that gets to the next thing that we'll talk about is how the ease of use and having a brand like Eyes of the Story just makes the conversation flow easier. But anyway, back to your facial cleanser. Sorry.
So it's interesting you say that because the person that I was just referencing is actually male. So
Yeah.
he found me on Instagram and he said, I really like the story behind your products. Could you explain to me, can I use them as a male? And, can you help me walk through the other products that I currently have in my bathroom and I use on a daily basis? So, and this patient has MGD and also rosacea. So, and he actually got back to me after he had started using our facial cleanser. He said, my lids are no longer swollen, my eyes are no longer swollen, and my face is no longer pink. So thank you
Well,
so
great.
much. And then he bought more product. So what do we recommend? So we start off obviously with whatever, say, treatment the ECP is recommended. So if you have a lid treatment, Demodex treatment, whatever it is, it's like, what is the lid treatment? So we always say lid treatment first, whatever your doctor says first. So clean your lids. Whether it happens to be to remove eye makeup or just cleaning your lids, we like to say, okay, we have our eyelid towelettes. They're sterilized. So we have our eyelid towelettes, which are great to refresh the lids, the lashes, or even take off eye makeup. So everybody can use these during the day. Also at the office instead of rubbing our eyes when we spend too much time on the computer, but they're great to refresh the lids, clean the lids, and remove our eye makeup. So that's step number one. Then step number two in our collection set, we have our face wash. So again, this face wash is made for sensitive skin, but specifically for sensitive eyes. So it does not include ingredients such as phenoxyethanol, parabens, tea tree oil, fragrance, salicylic acid, retinols. It's very, very gentle. And so what we do, we recommend you dampen your skin first, and then you take a couple of pumps of this and then massage it into your skin, all over your face. It's not an eye makeup remover, but it can be used on your lids as well. So we recommend, again, to dampen the skin, massage this in, and then rinse it off thoroughly. Then I know my routine is actually adding a hypochlorous acid spray to this I use it it's obviously an antimicrobial, but also say a toner. So we kind of like to ask clinics to pair our cleansing matrix with a hypochlorous acid spray. So after we spray, then we use the serum, which is great because it's humidifying for the skin. It's made specifically for the thin area around the eyes. You can also put it on the lids. What we've heard from patients, say with dry, flaky skin, say they have MGD, for example, dry, flaky skin on their lids, you can actually use this on the lids as well. Just don't put it in your eye because it's not a treatment for in the eye. So we recommend to use this. It can be used, say, morning and evening around the eyes, the delicate eye area. So it's anti-aging, it's moisturizing, it's humidifying, and it's very soothing. So that's our little cleansing day, hygiene.
Well, and of course I love this. So I will let you know in my clinic, we have used the Eyes of the Story wipes for patients with treatments. What we did was actually use them both pre and post IPL treatments. So that was always very refreshing, I would say, to the patients, especially as a cooling sensation after we've applied the light therapy. So that was one way that we did it. It was always a great introduction just to get them a little bit of hands-on feel it, because that's one of the things that just when you use that on the lid, it just is such a refreshing feeling that it helps the patient kind of understand, oh, this feels good. It doesn't sting like some of the
put it
other
into the patient hands and actually talk about it. And it's great because they're really large. I'm going to show one of these.
Yeah, I was going to say, show us how big that is, because it is. It almost takes up my whole face.
Yeah, and they're really, really good because you could actually use, we say one per eye, but you could actually, I would think you could use, say, one side and then the other side.
I
That
would agree.
they're really large and really great fabric, and there isn't any fiber or residue. So if you're removing the ultrasound gel, it's fantastic after an IPL treatment.
Yeah.
So
It
and
really
again,
helped
they have
also
steroids.
with any like residual makeup that they might have put on in mistake when we tell them not to, because sometimes they still do that, or a tinted sunscreen. But that was actually what I was going to get to is, first of all, I love that the serum does have anti-aging effects, because we do know that is the thinnest skin. And I think that we're going to see a lot of talk, and we already do see a lot of talk about just the way that our eyelid skins are aging, things around dark circles, all of these things. So the fact that you can say helps with aging, sold. I'm sold. But I also, sometimes have patients who are using an SPF. And so I wanted to talk through the way that you would recommend serum and SPF for patients that are, for patients or consumers, even.
Absolutely. Well, I use SPF every day. I have really delicate skin and very sensitive eyes. So I actually, don't hate me for this, but I don't put SPF on my lids and around my eyes during the day, only if I go to the beach, because I always wear sunglasses and a hat. So I like to use the serum on and around my eyes in the morning and at night. So you can use this also under eye makeup, but not under SPF,
Right.
because we don't recommend mixing anything with SPF, because it actually can compromise the functionality, the efficacy of an SPF. So if you want to use this during the day around your eyes, okay, but please wear sunglasses and a hat, because you obviously want to protect that delicate skin area, but you can use it as a day and evening. So, and also after IPL, it's really great for the extra soothing spa experience. So a lot of clinics are using this. Just
Oh, that's another great call out. So I love that idea as well. Well, I think that, I think that we've touched on a lot of things here, that how the chemical load is so much part of the conversation when we're talking to our patients with ocular surface disease, dry eye, MGD. If we're not having that conversation, we're sort of missing a really big lifestyle concern for patients. So, you can definitely find the top 10 list, and we'll make that shareable. Eyes of the Story is doing amazing things in becoming an international brand, which we've learned today is not an easy feat. So again, congratulations on that, a major accomplishment. And what that does is just gives us a great foundation to really build trust in the brand, right? So if we want to try to simplify our messaging to patients, we can say things like, are you wearing eye cosmetics? Are you washing your face? Here are a top 10 list of things I would avoid that you can find in your products. And here's a great company that we know is found on research and backed by claims that have studies to support them, with Eyes of the Story. And we will get to eye cosmetics, because that's also part of your brand. But today we really just wanted to clean up the act of our facial hygiene and our day to day. And so I really, really appreciate your time and teaching us all the things that we can do to educate our patients, and really make an impact on the ocular surface by starting with the skin.
Thank you, Dr. Odell. And just one last thing also is all of our products can
Oh,
actually.
yeah. Please tell us, how do we get it? Sorry. I'm so
Well,
sorry.
that too, but you can put these products into a patient's FSA. So actually, we do have a template available if somebody needs a recommendation for how to put these into an RX. But it is great because you can easily put these into a patient protocol. So you don't even need to go into the full development and explain all of the different chemicals. And you can just say, hey, we want you to try this. And again, for both women and men, and really every age, because Dr. Odell, don't you have your children wash their face with
Yeah, it's a great face wash for all ages. I would definitely agree with that.
So thank you. So again, you can put these into a patient's FSA, really, really simple. And so all of these products are available on our website, eyesarethestory.com, but we do actually have clinic wholesale available as well, because our products are sold through eye care professionals in the United States and also around the world. And it's a great, hey, pick some up, some eye candy for the holidays, as well as if you'd like, we do have some gift boxes as well with the skincare products, and they're lovely for staff gifts and also your patients. So clinics can retail these. We have special prices for clinics, and also you can buy them on our website, eyesarethestory.com. So we Dr. Odell, you can share these links with your colleagues. And again, I really appreciate your support along the way with the development of the brand and the products, and also sharing the story with your colleagues, patients, and family. So thank you.
Well, thank you again.